welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be talking about job processes, an interview process, and a work process. So I actually just got back from an interview, so I thought I should talk more about interview stuff, how to apply to jobs, where to look for jobs, and when you get the job, what you need to do. So without further ado, let's get started in this video. All right, so the first things that I want to talk about is how to apply to a job. I have applied to many jobs, a lot of jobs, probably over 50 jobs. And when you're applying to jobs, it's just something that you have to do sometimes. You know, the first job that you apply to, you may not get, or you may not even get an interview or any acknowledgement from the company. So you just got to keep applying to more and more jobs so that you can have a lot of variety to look at, different interviews. You can see the different types of jobs you want to work at and the different types of people that work at those jobs and the people who own those jobs, so you can see what really fits well with you and what you're looking for. A couple sites that I use to find jobs is Google. I usually just look jobs in and then the city that you're in. So to pull up a whole bunch of jobs lists, probably over 100 different jobs that are available, either hiring now, the day that they posted, and then sometimes a description of what is on the job and what you have to do and what the requirements are for the job. Another place to look is Indeed.com. I use this a lot. It's probably my favorite app to use to find jobs. It actually is an app on the phone as well as a website. You make basically a profile of yourself, like your picture, any education you have, work experiences. You can update a resume or upload a resume on there, any skills that you have, places that you are interested in. You can put like your money requirement, if you have certain hours that you want to work, and all that different stuff. So there's a lot of filters and everything that you can use on the website or app, and it will filter down the list of jobs that you have. And with Indeed, it's very cool because sometimes you can just apply right with Indeed. You don't even need to go to the actual company site to apply. You can just apply on Indeed with all your stuff already listed in there, because I know applying to over 50 jobs is very tiring. You have to keep inserting over and over and over like what you do, which is nice now because a lot of job applications have the option to import your resume directly and it will like automatically put it in, but it's not perfect. A lot of stuff still gets missed, or a lot of stuff is messed up. So on Indeed, it's everything you've put in and you can just apply that way. And then on Indeed, some company websites require you to apply on their website, so it just links you to the actual page to apply to. Another app that you can use that I really don't use that often is LinkedIn. It's more of a profile aspect than like looking for jobs. I would say it's like a professional work profile that companies can look at, and they can see like what you've applied to. They can see your work experience and everything like that. Again, your skills. But I like Indeed better because it's just, you can apply right there and then. And a lot of companies use links to Indeed. Not all of them use LinkedIn, but it is good to have a LinkedIn profile because it is your work like profile. It's like a work Facebook or work social media that keeps all your work information on one website. So like I said before, make sure you apply to as many jobs as you can, especially if you're not like looking for a career, if like you're a high school student looking for a job, or you're a college student still in college that won't graduate for a while. You know, you can get jobs in basically any field, like fast food or like a retail store. You can do it at like a hardware store. There's a lot of places that you can apply to. It's very hard. I think it's harder to actually get into your career field once you get there. For me, I'm gonna be a teacher, so like once I finish with my master's program and everything, then I have to look for like actual teacher jobs and stuff like that. But right now I'm looking for anything that I can find, especially for summer. I can work all summer, so I don't have like any vacations or anything. Especially right now with COVID, it's like a perfect time if you can find the job, and if there is a job available, to work over summer and get all the hours you can, because we can't really go anywhere yet. But it is harder right now because of COVID. A lot of people are out of jobs, so right now it's definitely a huge competition to try to find jobs and try to get a job in your town. Once you've applied to jobs and you're starting to get some feedback from the companies, like interviews or further applications, if you're just moving up the hiring process, what I recommend doing if you have an interview, to start researching and study for that interview. For example, if you are getting interviewed at a restaurant or fast food, study the menu and make sure you know the menu before you even go into the interview. And that could be a highlight, that you know the food already, you know what's on the menu, and you know like the different items that come with different things, because that will impress your person that's hiring you or interviewing you, because it will make you seem like you are actually invested in the job and you're looking up information about the job. So if you are going into that kind of field, I'll look into that. If you're going into retail, you can still study that way. Maybe if the store was open, go into the store and look around and like see what's at the store and like connect something in your interview to the store. That way they know that you know the store already. When you go in for your interview, make sure that you have a resume, because sometimes if you're applying to a job, you send in your resume, obviously, but that may not be the person who saw your resume, so that's interviewing you. So always bring a copy of your resume, that way they can look at it and they can see for themselves what you have on it. And it's a good resource because it makes you look really professional. And of course, dress very professional when you go to an interview, like tank tops, make sure they're long sleeves. It's like a flattering print if you're gonna have print, not like graphic tee kind of thing, pencil skirts, slacks, anything like that. You want to look more dressed up, maybe like booties or sandals, like not flip-flops or anything like that, because if you come in like in a tank top and jeans, depending on the situation, they're not really going to see that as professional because you're just looking like any other day. But even if it's for like a fast food position, dress up super nice, like you're going to like a high-end like attorney's office. Like you still want to dress up no matter where you are, and no matter where you go, you want to dress up and look presentable for your interview. Some info about interviews. When you're at the interview, you can really gauge how it's going to go. For example, I had 2 this week. The first one I had, it went really well. Like we talked for 20 minutes. It seems fine. I still haven't got a call back because again, it's really really hard right now because of everyone trying to find jobs. But the person who went before me got hired on the spot. So you could see, like I could tell that I didn't get hired on the spot, that I probably would not be getting the job, which is fine. It wasn't meant to be. And then like today when I just came from the interview, it was literally 2 seconds. It was just a few things about my resume and then that was it. And then tons of people were coming in. Like there was 12 or 15 people like outside waiting for an interview as well. So you can gauge when you get to an interview how it's going to be. Sometimes they'll tell you if it's individual or group interview. You really don't know, depends on the company. But if it's actually a longer interview and they're asking you personal questions and you're really clicking well with the person, more than likely you're going to be one of the top candidates. But if it's like a 2-second interview where you're like one of 30 people, it's going to be a little harder to get into that position. So, just try different interviews, go to different places. If you don't get it, you don't get it, but there's plenty of opportunity out there to try to get another job. So once you've had an interview and maybe they've hired you now, when you actually get into the job, make sure you ask some questions about if like what clothes you need to wear, the dress code, stuff like that. If you get hired, make sure you go to the store right away and get the clothes that you have to wear if you don't have them already. For example, when I worked at the restaurant, it was all black, everything with like non-slick shoes. So I had to get black slacks. I had to get a lot of black shirts and like 1 or 2 pairs of those non-slip shoes to wear in the restaurant because I didn't have anything like that. Some places will give you clothes of the place that you're working at, like t-shirts, and then maybe you have to wear jeans. Make sure like you ask about jean length. If it is jeans, like do we wear capris? Do they have to be ankle length? Are they skinny jeans? Are they boot cut? Like that kind of stuff. Like it's good to always ask questions actually when you get hired to see like exactly what you're going to be doing in the job as well. And any questions you have for the company, it shows them that you're invested and you're excited to be working there. And honestly, what I did when I got hired at a lot of places, I took a notebook in on my first, like the training days, basically when you're getting trained on how to use things, what you're doing. I took a notebook in and I took notes. Sometimes you want to do that, sometimes you don't, depending again on the company that you're working for. But at the restaurant, I had my own menu and I literally wrote everything on that menu because I was a hostess at the restaurant. So when people made orders, I just pulled out my little study menu and I could see like what comes in it, if they had questions, what doesn't come in it, the ingredients, stuff like that. So if you have a restaurant, fast food place, and you get a menu, like write notes on it about the different food items, like what they can get with it, what they can't, the sauces, stuff like that. That way and you sound even more professional for your employer because you're not having to learn like over 4 weeks. Like you're gonna get it right off the bat. And then after you do the notes, like make sure you go home and study them. Like it's kind of like homework in a way at your job. Like you need to learn to apply it to your job. So it works for like retail places as well. Like have a notebook, you can like make like a little map on it of like the store, so like, oh, if I'm working the fitting room and a customer asks about a certain area, I know how to direct them from the fitting room area. Or if you're like the cashier, know, for the front of the retail store, how to direct them somewhere in the place. So that's a good way to do it, to make a map of the place, make a map of inventory as well, like this junior section, women's section, men's section, stuff like that. So there's different ways that you can actually still learn and still gain knowledge at work. So like once you get hired, like make sure you're still putting in all the work, you know, just because, oh yeah, now I'm hired, I don't have to worry about it. Like you want to make sure you're staying on top of your game, because that really determines if they want to keep you full time, if they're going to move you up, or if they're just going to let you go after a couple months. So when you're hired, make sure you have 100% every single day and you're doing what you need to do. Well, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye.